2. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. What's the worst that could happen, huh? Okay. But alright. Okay. Doesn't look bad, all things considered. Alright. Yeah, that'll do fine. Fine. There. There. And I think that should be good. We're gonna have an F. Well, let's hope it doesn't. What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, I've got my cup of water. Cannot drink. Bottle of water. Can drink. Full of water. I should remember to do so. Frequent occasion. Oh. There, that's there, that's there. Good. On, we're active. That water bottle was so fucking wet. Jesus Christ. Sipping, I'm soaked. Alright. Hello, old friend. Time to actually put the rubber to road. Time to actually put the rubber to road. Time to actually put the rubber to the road. Get some painting done. Okay. Okay. Brushes. Literally, my painting process for the first, like, 20 minutes is just me floundering around. Right, where the fuck everything is. In the Larian. Balmy and medium. Weird chemical paint thinning stuff that I also need. Brushes. Definitely need. And where's my little like plastic thing? My mini hole. I always have my camera on at like this one particular angle, so it's absolutely impossible to see just how much of a fucking. I have shit everywhere. I can't find a single thing. Oh, there it is. I lied. God. Let me pop the chat up. No. There. There, so I can see it. And there we have it. You find everything you need immediately? Are you really painting? No! You're living an organized life. The exact opposite of what we expect, but it's not bad. Hey, hey! What's poppin'? Go on. Good thing you aren't live so nobody could watch. Don't tell me that, because I will believe it. I'm trying a new tech stack. Got a phone there, I've got a light up there. It's connected to a computer this time. They're all just running off the one phone, because I've learned that is a bad way to do things. I also need to remember that the camera is there and not there, because there's a screen there that I can look at, but then I have this weird, like, 3/4 angle. I'm good! Thank you for asking, YouTube user. Lana? Good. Day is over? Work is done? Now I can actually sit down, paint some of my minis. I base coated them yesterday. See if will that focus? I base coated these bad boys yesterday, and now I can actually start put some green stuff on them. By which I mean painting them. Maybe they'll come into focus when I actually see them. Who knows? My favorite color? My favorite color is purple. Color of kings. Color of Saints Row the Third. Of my favorite video games of childhood. Is the Divinity Original Sin 2 soundtrack? Yes, it is. Whenever I look for, like, background music to put on during streams, I always tend to go for video game soundtracks. A, because it, there's no lyrics usually, so you can, like, have them on in the background. I can't talk while I'm also, like, listening to lyrics or hearing other people. Like, if I was listening to, like, cool rap music right now, like, I don't know, who's a rap man? Eminem, or Lizzo. I don't think that's correct. But yeah, if I was listening to rap, I simply could not string together a proper sentence. Which is ironic, considering that I arguably can't string together a proper sentence anyway, so maybe it wouldn't actually matter that much what... But yes, I'm listening not to the Divinity Original soundtrack specifically, but I am listening to the Borislav Slavov mix. Borislav, of course, being the composer for the Divinity Original Sin 2 soundtrack, as well as Baldur's Gate 3. And probably Divinity Original Sin 1, but that's not on Spotify. I use what I have access to. To enter Wild West duel. Yeehaw! That it? Yeah, that's a cowboy sound. Well, thank you. I'm wearing my summer shirt because it's summer. Hot. But I put a thin layer of foundation powder on my cheeks because otherwise I would just be like a sheen of sweat. And even then, I still kinda am. So. I'm doing good. Workday is done. Now I can finally sit down to do some painting and doing some chatting. What I love to do, quite frankly. I'm gonna move it just so I have a little light. Also, it gives me really nice. Love Larian Studios. We absolutely do love Larian Studios in this. We love any game development outfit that is so committed to what they're doing and also likes to keep and maintain staff so they can actually like upskill them over time and make their products better with every new release. That's how they make good games. That's how they make good games. They are very good at making classic RPGs, and so they just have a bunch of people on payroll who've been doing that for 40 years. Turns out, you hire people. You hire people, right? Hire people to do a thing, and then don't fire them when the thing is done, and you actually keep them around to make more things later on. Those people get better at the things they do. Who would have thunk it? Time is it for you, folks? It is 5 p.m. for me specifically. Day's done. My boss tries to call me to do more work, I can be like, no. I'm doing my own thing. I'm off the clock, baby. Then again, I wouldn't say that because I would simply ignore his email. Because I'm off the clock. I take working out very seriously. Try to get me to do work outside of work hours? I will. I was gonna say I simply won't do it, but that's kind of a lie. I have been known to work on my off hours sometimes if it's like... Look, if I if I have a bit of time to address a problem that will simply be a problem for later Ethan, I might jump on it like 6 minutes. Like, I know that goes against everything that I believe in, but I'll just take 20 minutes off the next day, you know? Love a game dev studio that isn't mine. Because that's absolutely right. Larian's just like, we want to make this specific type of game. And so we're going to do just that. We're going to do just that. Know what we want to do? We're going to hire the people, do that thing. We're going to treat them right. We're going to nurture them. We're going to give them a big bonus when the game's out. I don't know if they do, but I assume they do. Hello, bro. Harper. Bam. Home dog. I don't know. I don't know how young people... I simply do not know. So that, I'm just chilling, painting some Warhammer. I've still got a bunch of new models that I'm trying to kick off. So I'm in that really just boring stage of base coating. Where I'm just like slapping down really thin layers of flat colors. You know, it's nice to throw on a stream and get a little bit of social interaction, you know? Chat with people. Talk about Warhammer, tabletop games. You know, my little dudes. Of course it's not gonna... Focus, I say. Command you. Oh well. I need to, like, really take note when I'm painting those, because, like, they're kind of different to the other orcs that I've started recently. Like, they've got a lot more gear on them, they've got a lot more clothes. Like, normally, when I paint orcs, like, normally when I paint the orcs that I've done for the last little while, like, because they're traditional orcs, they've, you know, they don't have too much going on in the costume department. Give you an example. Like, the lights are a little trying to do that. Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what we want to see, baby. That's what we want to see. Yeah, because they're a little bit simpler. You know, like their back is just like covered in, you know, brown leather. They've got like one strap and a shoulder pauldron sort of thing. Whereas the Commandos, like they got backpacks. They got like crammed full of stuff. Got like thigh strap holsters and knives and. Definitely not gonna be able to. Got like multiple straps across his chest and everything like that. So now I'm not gonna be in focus, so that's fun for me. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to like readjust how I normally. Because I've started to put the like just basic green colors on this guy right now, and now I'm like, maybe I should have started with a different... I'm also sitting here, like... Okay, so I want him... I'm thinking of giving them the same, like, dusty brown leather color scheme that I gave my other orcs. Is that gonna work with the amount of detail that they have on them? That's my worry. My worry is that I'm gonna, like, put a layer of brown leather on. I'm gonna be like, oops! It actually doesn't work. They got too many straps. One big, like, brown leathery mess. I've really got to get really gotta, like, a really precise brushstroke in here. Like, that his, like, thick neck, like, blocked by his huge sword that he's... Nice, couple of thin coats of green. Like a critter. I'm just a little guy. Hold your hand up behind something. Yeah, I've got to start doing that. My phone's always been... I think it just gets weird because it's like plugged into a computer and it doesn't know how to react to that. Hello. The Samij. What's poppin'? Oh. I think the green layers of the Commandos are probably gonna be pretty quick to do. They don't really show that much skin in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's only, like, the arms and, like, the neck. Because a lot of them are wearing, like, masks and faceplates, which I've really got to figure out my strategy for. Because, I don't know, like, normally... I mean, I guess I could make the mask yellow, like I got with this guy. He's sort of got, like, a bandana thing. Focus. I've got, like, a yellow bandana going on. And, like, I've used the yellow accent across most of the models that I've built previously. So... maybe yellow's the go, maybe I'll do whites, like, I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna make a choice, like... I'm gonna make a choice in, like, a split-second decision, and then I'm gonna be stuck with that for the rest of my life. Just as God intended. And Orcs of paper color? See, you know me. I'm a fan of model personalization. I love tweaking and kit bashing models to really give them a sense of personality, right? I also value consistency. Like, to me, the really satisfying thing when I'm painting models is just, like, getting a shit ton of them with, like, a uniform color scheme, all standing on a table, or, like, all standing in a row. Be like, ooh, yeah. All things coming together. You know what I mean? For the D&D club, and I'm the painter for all the minifigures? Hell yes! That's what we... more adventure, more fantasy! I remember back in the day, my high school had a tabletop role-playing games club, but I was not... I wasn't into the realms of flight and fantasy at the time. So for me, it was a no-go. I never did anything like that when I was in school. I had to wait till I was a full-grown adult when I could legally play Dungeons and Dragons. And I mostly got into, like, nerd stuff when I was older. Like, as a kid, I would play video games and all that. But, you know, I think as I got older, I definitely got more of an appreciation for just creative mediums in general, yes. Because originally I'm like, yeah, you know, I love movie. I love video games. But when I, like, go back and, like, think about my young life, I'm like, did I actually like any of that stuff that I consumed? Did I actually like any of that media, or was I just watching it there? You know? Maybe that's just how I feel about superhero movies. I've been thinking about them a lot lately, like... You know, you always see online people trashing Marvel movies and stuff like that. Being like, oh, you know, like, Marvel sucks. Oh, like, superhero movies have always sucked. They've always been overrated. I'm like, no, they They were, like, the biggest fucking thing on the planet for a long time. And for a good reason. Like, when superhero movies were first coming out, they were actually, like, good movies. Like, as far as, you know, popcorn blockbusters went. Popcorn fucking blockbuster films. But now they're all trying to, like, fit the genre of Marvel movie. Yes, the pink man. I'll do it one day. See, the thing for me is that, like, I want to do more, like, weird color schemes and stuff like that. But I'm also, like, I also want to play the games at the tabletop. You know what I mean? So I feel like if there's like a couple of models that I would want to get, or there's a couple of model kits that I want to get for just like one model or like one cool paint job that I want to do. But then I'd have like 5 other models that I'd need to. Basically what I'm saying is that if I do one hot pink Tyranid, then I have to do, you know, 10 others. Because they all come in a box of like 10 or 15. Because you can't just have one Tyranid, it has to be a whole goddamn platoon. Unless that one hot pink Tyranid is like a winged Tyranid Prime, or like a Specs. One of the big ones. But thank you, it was a Goodwill buy. It was bought on my behest. Well, on my behalf, rather, it's a gift. Goodwill gift. One that I am very thankful for. Especially because it's light and airy and it's fucking hot right now. You do you. I will do me. And one day that me will do a hot pink Tyranid, I guess. That's not legible. That wasn't sound. And what you think. Don't call it thirst content. That's dumb. But I appreciate that people, you know, watch my stuff even after I, like, go through 12 different subgenres of content in, like, a 6-month period. I'm just a guy who tries new things. Like, if I want to do something, I'm just gonna do it. You know? I appreciate it when people stick. I had, like, the, Rainbow Tyranids is the funniest thing ever. I was thinking about painting all of my Tyranids a different color, but I feel like that would get... Because I got the, like, the Leviathan box, which comes with a bunch of Tyranids, right? And I've painted one of them to completion. Actually, that's a lie. I painted two of them to completion, but the second one that I painted, I'm not a super huge fan of, so sort of got to go back and fix that, so it's not technically done. But the Tyranid that I paint, where is he? Desk is a mess, and I can't find anything. Here's an unfinished one, but I was gonna paint my Tyranids with a Thousand Suns blue scheme, and I paint. Oh fuck it! There he is. There's the finished one. See that? There he is. Very happy with this guy. How this guy turned out. Honestly, I was gonna like sell the Tyranid portion of the Leviathan box set because I was like, ew, gross. I don't want to do that. And then I did one, and now I'm like, you know what? I get it. Focus. Yeah, I was like, you know what, maybe I want to paint all these Tyranids a different color. Like, everyone's gonna be a different one, so it'll all be like a full rainbow affair kind of thing. And then I painted that one, and I'm like, hey, this color scheme actually slaps. It goes with my shirt, too. Highly unintentional. Mostly because I painted it like 8 months ago. That's exactly right. We love thrift stores in this house. Not only is that what the heat is, but you also save the planet and like reduce waste. Yeah, that works. That's what I'm trying to say. That's exactly right. Nothing. Do you 3D print or resin your Warhammer figures? I do not. All of my figures that I painted are just straight up from Games Workshop. Like, I haven't made anything custom yet. I wouldn't be opposed to it. No. I kind of want to teach myself 3D again. Like, I did, like, a course on the basics of 3D when... And so, like, I know roughly how programs like Blender work. So, like, with a little bit of practical application, I could, you know, potentially bring together some, like, model files for print, the thing. You know what, maybe I will. Maybe that'll be a project of mine. But, like... yeah, as of now, you know, all of the stuff that I make is, yeah, it's all just, like, Games Workshop stuff. Although I do have... a bunch of, like, bits. Like, my local local Warhammer store, they just have, like, a bits box that you can just look at if you ask for it. I'm not sure if this is just, like, a thing relevant to my, you know, local store or anything like that. But one of the guys who worked there was like, hey, do you want to see the bits box? And I was like, what the fuck is that? And it's just a box full of, like, leftover parts that people have either, you know, donated or abandoned, or, like, you know, they had to return some things, so they just had all these leftover sprues that they couldn't sell. You know, so it's, yeah, it's just got, like, a whole bunch of, like, stuff to kitbash with. It's fucking great. I love it. I'll show you some examples of some stuff that I put together after I paint this, because I've already started putting the base coat down. If I stop now, it'll start to dry. Hope Beyond Hope 3D printing leads Games Workshop to decrease the price of some of their models. Well, they just increased them. Inflation, I guess. Yeah, I would also love it if Warhammer was cheaper, but I'm also, like, not really holding out hope, you know? And I mean, for what it's worth, the models they make are really good quality, you know? Like, I don't know if, like, if I just haven't seen any, like, good examples of 3D printed stuff, but I've seen some 3D printed things. Like, I had a buddy who had, like, a cheap 3D printer back home, and, like, it was cool, and I know you can do some really good stuff with it, but Games Workshop plastic is, like, it's good quality stuff. Wish my local store had that. It sounds like a blast. Maybe it does. Like, I simply do not know if this is, like... I have no idea if this is just, like, unique to my local store, or if it's, like, more of a... just Games Workshop thing in general. But yeah. Making your presence known at your local wargaming emporium kinda has its perks. Might have missed it, but what armies other than orcs are you wanting to run? That's a good question. So obviously I want to build my orcs. I want to make sure I have a full army of them so I can play with them. I've got most of a Space Marine army. Like I mentioned, I have the Leviathan set, so I got the good chunk of 1,000 points of Space Marines. So I do want to like go back and, like, you know, buy a few more Space Marines to finish off the set, for lack of a better term. So Space Marines is definitely one that I want to play. Like, some might call them basic, but, you know, you can kind of do anything with the Space Marines. Like, you can run tanks, you can run infantry, you can run weird guys. Like, benefit of being the poster boy of the franchise just means you get the most models to play with. So, you know? Dude, it's crazy how much you look like a young Gordon Gano. I don't know who that is. I don't know... So I don't know many of the names that people often compare me to. And that is a concern, because I've learned that some of them are sex criminals. Being on the internet is just a constant stream of people telling you you look like somebody else. You know what? I accept this. I accept my role in the hierarchy of internet personalities. Do you like the violent femmes? Just as a concept? I assume that's a band of some kind. But to answer your question with utmost sincerity, yes, I do enjoy unhinged, murderous women. That is what the question is. Okay. I assume it isn't, but that's my answer anyway. But yeah, I want to play Orcs, I want to play Space Marines. When I first started to, like, sit down and, you know, think about getting into the game, Guard crossed my mind, like the Imperial Guard. Solely because I really love just regular people in fantasy universes. Like, my favorite character type to play in Dungeons & Dragons is fucking human fighter, you know? Human fighter, human determination, like, warrior spirit, no superpowers, no magic, no nothing. Just going for it with a plate armor and a longsword, baby. Tried to put on a second coat of green before the first coat is dried, and that's gonna be a problem for me. Oh no. But yeah, I have since sort of shied away from the idea of playing Imperial Guards, just because, like, it's like, I've got enough models to paint and play. And with Guard, you just have to paint the same guy again and again and again and again and again. It'll be fun for a little bit, but no. It was hard enough for me to paint my Orc boys because it's just 20 of the same guy. Just 20 of the... It's... Well, okay. It's 10 guys, repeated infinitely. Who am I painting? I am painting the Ork Commandos of the Kill Team box set. And I've just started, so it's literally just black and green right now, baby. Army's cool. Go for speed. I would be going for speed if I was the kind of person who invested in contrast paints before I invested in base paints. Now, I'm stuck with slow paints, when I could have just slapped a bunch of contrast over a white base and have been done with it. Call that the slap chop method, baby. I think that is the name, actually. Ah, he's a stinger of the violent femmes. Okay, alright. There's a new comparison. But every day it's something new. Oh, it's too hot today. You look like that one guy from that one movie. Yeah! Get my friend the comms boy and they use apple barrel paints? Oh god. Straight from the pot. That's what you want to see. Do I have my comms boy rolling around? I built him. That's right, I built him on stream the other week, but I didn't, like... Well, I think I kind of screwed up because, like, normally on the model for the comms boy, like, that cord thing that he's holding should loop around and, like, attach into the bottom of his gun. But I think I messed up the arm placement of the sonic gun because, like, I guess it's a megaphone of some kind. But, like, the extra, like, cable piece just doesn't fit in. So now I've sort of been left with an orc with, like, a weird Tesla coil gun and just an exposed bit of wire. So it just whips people with exposed wire that also shocks them. Electrical hazards are no joke. Greetings from Argentina. Hello! That's a new one. I love the fact that the internet connects me with people all over the globe. I love connected societies. You'll talk nice to her. Thank you. It's light. And because it's warm. And I'm dying. Sheen of sweat. That's fine. That's the orc. Listen. If someone is willing to become my, like, weird detached, like, Warhammer patron who just buys me models and sends them to my house, I will paint all of them. It's kind of my rule, like, if I buy a model and because I want to, like, play it on the tabletop, I'm like, okay, we can have fun, but I also want, like, a consistent color scheme. I want to make sure that, like, it looks good and, like, it looks uniform and everything. If somebody buys me Warhammer, like, gives it to me as a gift, I'm like, okay, I can do whatever I want with this. Like, a friend of mine bought me like, a pack of Chaos Space Marine Legionaries for my birthday, because they were like, oh, this is Warhammer. You like that. So here's a set of models from an army that you don't collect and have no other models for, So I'm like, sweet, I just have a pack of Space Marines that I cannot use in the game. I'm gonna paint them hot pink. Those are the ones I am gonna paint hot pink. Then again, I am painting them hot pink because they're Emperor's Children, and I like that faction. So one day I will have a full hot pink Emperor's Children army. That is a threat. The orcs, doesn't matter if it's broken, it still works if he believes it does. That's right. I mean, honestly, I think that orc doesn't, like... I don't think he even knows that cable is supposed to be used for the megaphone. I think he's just whipping people with, like, exposed wire. That shit hurts. No disrespect, brother, but you look like Farquaad mixed with Syndrome from The Incredibles. That's 2 in 1. That's 2 of the more common ones that I get, mixed in for one strange internet message. I am used to it at this point. Hey, how's it going? I've been scared to get a stomper. Have you built one before? Honestly, like, I am... Like... I don't really like the stomper. Like... And, like, it's gonna sound weird, because... Okay, so I think the stomper is perfect, right? I think the stomper is, like, a perfect machine. It's, like, so in character for the orcs. I think it's, like, big, it's menacing, it's brutal, it's everything that needs to be. I think it's kind of ugly. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of ugly. Like, I don't like it, it's kind of ugly. I don't like. Which I feel like is a weird thing to say, because I can accept that the Stomper is, like, the culmination of orcish contraptionry. That was weird. But, like, The Stomper is perfect. Like, the Stomper is absolutely something that the Orcs would make, and it is absolutely something they would field on the battlefield. I don't want it in my house. Also, I think that, like, I get that it's, I get that it's an expensive model because it's so physically big, but, like, I feel like if you're gonna spend that much money on a model, like, I feel like it should have, like, more detail. Like, it should be, like, a higher fidelity model. Because to me, the Stomper sort of just, like, it's sort of just, like, this cylinder with, like, a flat, rusted metal face on it, you know? Whereas something like an Imperial Knight, for instance, has, like, pauldrons and arms and, like, articulated robot bits. Like, I feel like for the price, a Stomper is, like... You don't get that many, like, cool pieces to play with. Like, the whole sort of thing of it is that it's big and, like, basic and flat, because it's built for nothing more than just stomping across the battlefield with guns on. You know what I mean? But I hear they're, like, really scary in tabletop, so maybe I will pick one up one day. If I ever did get a Stomper, though, the one thing I would want to do with it, like... I did have this idea for, like, a more, like, long-form project down the line. Was if I got a Stomper, I would build it in such a way that you could, like, open it up. Did you ever have those, like, weird, like, castle playsets growing up as a kid, where it's like, yeah, it's a knight's castle, or it's like a doll house, and it splits open in the middle, and you can see all the rooms inside? Of course, I had the castle and not the doll set, obvious. I'm the worst person to be making that point, but that's besides anything. But, like, I would want to do that with the Stomper, so you could, like, open it up and just see, like, a bunch of orcs inside, like, grinding on machinery, or, like, something like that, you know what I mean? But I don't know if you can do that with the kit, you know what I mean? Built atop a Gundam to a similar size as a Stomper, and it... Okay. Never tried Gundams. Maybe I would enjoy them, maybe not. I don't know. I've never been the biggest anime. Watched a lot of anime growing up. Not as an adult. I got better. Hey. Nah, that's a lie. I joke about anime a lot. It's like, yeah, I've never watched anime my entire life. It's fine. No hate, no shame. Oh snap, Ace Ventura. You make lore for this guy? Oh, absolutely. You think I'm just gonna, like... You think I'm just gonna go past the, like... one fucking, like, content idea that I have that just, like, consistently does well no matter the time I post it? I love doing those little, like, you know, Warhammer mini lore videos, and people seem to enjoy them. Like, they, you know, like, people see them. I guess means that they like them? That's kind of how algorithms work these days, I guess. But yeah, I feel like I got a formula down pat, and, like, I like making up funny little stories for stupid little murderous idiots. Sorry, they're orcs. I should probably call them gits. Something similarly British. Your Knights are amazing. I've got 2 and can't wait to get more. Hell yeah! Imperial Knights was, like, one-liner models that I was really on the fence about. Like, similar to the Ork Stomper, like, I kind of thought Imperial Knights were a little bit ugly. You know, like, I wasn't, like, super thrilled about them. But I've seen a couple of people at my local store, like painting some good ones. Like they were doing like full, like top tier paint jobs. Like they were using the paints that like, you know, were non-Warhammer paints, like the third party wargaming acrylic, like army painter shit. They looked good. When I saw people like actually making them, I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like I get it now. I also saw an animation of like an Imperial Knight like chainsawing into a fucking like Eldar mech, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like you've made a giant ugly robot with chainsaws for hands. I see the vision. I can get behind it now. Shirt reminds me of Rocko's Modern Life. Hell yeah! I think that show was a little bit before my time. Or maybe it wasn't. I don't know how old I am. But nobody else does, so that's fine. Like a gore figure. I might do a gore figure at one point. Like, for me, I feel as though, like, I feel like for me, I like making models that are pretty clean in the grand scheme of things. Like, I don't really like, you know, excess weathering or battle damage or, like, rust or things like that. Like, I like to keep things pretty clean, you know? It's like, I think that's just my aesthetic of choice, honestly. I think that's just my aesthetic of choice. Okay, brush. I have your t-shirt? No, it's mine, and I need it so that I don't violate the live streaming terms of service. I cannot remove it in a public-facing environment. Happening with Games Workshop. I'm only into the lore for about a year, and I want to know more. I mean, I don't know, man. Everyone's all like, "Oh, Games Workshop's going downhill. Like, Games Workshop sucks now. Like, the company sucks." But I also feel like people have been saying that for millions and billions of years. And so, like, I'm starting to think that it's just an online phenomenon. Like, if you actually go outside and meet Warhammer fans at, like, your local Warhammer store or something like that, turns out they're mostly just regular people. Do you like Mike Hawk? Oh, ah, ah! I've been had. I've been got. Alright, I need the next model. Model you've had the most trouble building? I've unplugged something. That's a concern. Ah. Oh. Everything's in shambles. Ah! Alright, there we go. Kicked something under the table and unplugged literally every piece of technology I know to man. I have to my name. Words. Okay. What's a model you've had the most trouble building? I haven't really, like, built any, like, too big models at the moment. Like, I haven't really, like, had enough, like, big projects that, you know, I would have so much trouble with, to be honest. Like, probably the model that I had the roughest time building was probably, I would say, the Death Dread, just because it's, like, one of the bigger ones that I... And also, like, there was this really weird thing where, like, if you look closely, the arm on the left there, the stream is mirrored, so it might not be the left. This one here. Like, the arm on the left there doesn't have its secondary, like, shoulder guard like this one does. This one's got 2 shoulder guards, and this one up here doesn't. Because its arm joints, like, glue in really weird. And I glued this one in a little bit too high, because I wanted him to go, like, but then you simply cannot glue in the second shoulder guard in there. And now it's lopsided, and nobody knows that unless I tell them, but now I've told all of you. So... Only into the lore, so I may be disconnected from the tabletop aspect. I mean, that's one of the beauties of Warhammer to me, is that, like, you can get out of it what you want to get out of it. You like the lore, you like the books, you can just stick with that. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. If someone's like, oh, you gotta do this, or like, oh, you gotta do this. No, you don't. No, you don't. Your favorite faction lore-wise? I would probably say my favorite faction lore-wise is just all the shit the humans got going on. Like, I'm a big fan of the Horus Heresy. Let's call it the Horus Heresy. Baba. Yeah, like, I'm a big fan of the Horus Heresy, which is literally just, like, all of humanity fucking up. Like, it's just a train wreck in slow motion, to be honest. And I love that. Drama. But, like, all of the factions are, like, fun and interesting in their own way, you know? Like, the Orks are, you know, bombastic and stupid, which is entertaining in its own right. The Necrons are, like, so full of themselves that they actually loop around to being stupid again, which I think is really nice. Humanity is just a soap opera in space, which I guess is just a space opera. You really think about it? But yeah, it's... I love all of the factions because they're all good at something in terms of providing an entertaining fiction experience. Like, if you want something super serious, you know, you can read, like, the Horus Heresy books. If you want something funny, you can read the Orcs and the Necron novels. There's something for everyone. I love that. I have the same complaint about the Death Dread arm joints. Oh god, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I got that Death Dread in the, like, Orcs Combat Patrol. And yeah, like, I felt like the build instructions were a little bit confusing. But then again, I'm also kind of stupid. So, I don't know who's to blame here. Probably me. Can't stop listening to the End of the Death volumes. Ooh, I can't wait to get up to those. I'd say no spoilers, but I think that's kind of a moot point. Franchise. That's one of my other favorite things about the Horus Heresy books. It's that it's like you can't really spoil them because they're like it's established lore, it's established canon. Like, you know what's gonna happen at the end. 10,000 years of misery. But it's the journey. The journey that we love. Journey. I've, like, really screwed up this guy's, like, They say all you need is 2 thin coats. Not when I'm working on things. I feel like I've really screwed up the consistency of this guy's paint job. I will say, one thing that's frustrating about painting orcs is that they have so many, like, weird crevices and neck folds that are super easy to miss. Like, the one place that I always have to remind myself that I need to get in and paint is the, like, the underside of their chin. Like, I always forget to paint that on orc. I don't know why. Should be fairly easy. I should know where that is. Mostly because I've fucked up painting it, like, so many times already. I've put this light next to me, so I have some extra visibility on my model, so I can actually see what I'm doing. It's so warm. It's so warm, and I hate that. And Warhammer Dude is very on the nose. One knows immediately what you're about. But dives here to the point. For some reason I've like completely missed painting this guy's elbow. Like there's a whole like you're absolutely not gonna be able to see that. There's like a whole like unpainted patch of his elbow that's just sitting there. Him is very on the Satinine favorite. Is that like one of the books? Sounds familiar. Get like I feel like so I've just started I just started a new Horus Heresy book. I think I'm up to Tales of Heresy, which is like the first short story collection in the Horus Heresy series. And I think maybe after this one, I'm gonna try and like branch out into a novel from a faction I haven't read yet. Like if there's any good like Sisters of Battle books, I might check one of those out. Because like, you know, I've read a lot of Space Marines, I've read some of the Orc literature. The Necron books are really good. Like they've been some of my favorites so far. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Sisters books are any good. Like, I've read... I read Gaunt's Goats. Gaunt's Ghosts was the one guard book that I read. And it was fun. Like, I had a good time with it. But at the same time, it was like... It just wasn't really my kind of novel. Which is definitely more of a taste thing. Get Lions Son of the Forest. Yeah, I heard that one was pretty good. Like, I heard Lion Son of the Forest was pretty good from the people I talked to about it. Like, I don't know, I'm intrigued the Dark Angel. Like, I read the oh, God, it's on the internet forever. No one's gonna let me live it down. Like, I read the Dark Angel's, Horus Heresy book. Descent of Angels. And I thought it was interesting, but like I don't know if I'm like super hooked on the Dark Angels yet as a concept. Okay, as a concept, I like them. Like that's not the right word that I use. They more mean like, you know, am I gonna wanna like read more Dark Angel stuff? Am I gonna wanna paint Dark Angels models? They haven't gripped me in that way. That being said, a lot of the models that they... Okay, I mean, I say that, but all the Dark Angels models they released a little while back, they are pretty cool. And is a different person from the Horus Heresy? Ooh, intriguing. Well, see, that's interesting, because when he first... In the Descent of Angels book, he doesn't really... You know, he isn't really, like, in the book all that. Like, Descent of Angels mostly focuses on... as Raphael. That's his name, right? Mostly follows on, like, the other Dark Angels, and he's almost like a side character. Like, he's just sort of, like, off in the distance, being, like, brooding and mysterious. Which is what I assumed people liked about him. Maybe I'm wrong. I probably am. Also, I'm collecting Blood Angels. Do you have any unit recommendations? I don't know if I know enough about the game to give unit recommendations. But I always like to find the weird models that are going out of stock. You know, that are, like, almost about appreciated. I feel like if you run those in the tabletop, you have that element of what you're gonna do is you're gonna buy 7 drop pods. Fill them with as many jump pack troops as possible. I don't know if you can put jump pack troops in a drop pod, but you're gonna do it. And you're gonna do it until a referee at a competitive tournament tells you not to. You read World War Z? No, I don't. I don't read books. I read a lot of Warhammer books. I should really branch out into other literature. It's probably not good for my soul, you know? Probably not good for my soul to only read, like, one subgenre of literature. Sanguinated. Alright. What a cool model name. As the mini so far, it's gone pretty good. Like, I'm still in the very, like, preliminary stages of, just base coating. Like, I'm literally just putting the layers of green down. But yeah, it's literally just, like, I'm in the really boring phases of model making right now. Model painting, rather. Not making anything. Like, I'm mostly just slapping the basic colors down. And I like to throw on little streams in the background while I do that, because I just shoot shit into the void while I do the really, like, boring grunt work that, you know, nobody really likes doing, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm mostly just boxes here. Propagate. Hell yeah. You know about the guns the Lion gave away? I do not. I don't know anything. I simply do not know it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I feel like there's so much, like, established lore with, I feel like there's so much established lore in Warhammer at the moment. Like, it's really hard to spoil anything, quote-unquote, because it's all, like, it's all well documented, and, like, everyone's knowledge of the franchise is, like, passed around from person to person. Which I think is a really interesting sort of way for a franchise to be. Like, for instance, I'm reading Tales of Heresy right now, and Tales of Heresy opens with a blood game from the Adeptus Custodes. And the whole thing is trying to be, like, really mysterious, right? Like, it's like, ooh, who is this mysterious guy trying to make his way to the Imperial Palace? Ooh, it sounds like he's trying to hunt someone down and kill them. But, like, you as, like, I know the law. I know this is a custodian who's, like, trying to break into the palace to kill the Emperor. But even knowing that, you know, the books are written in such a way that it's still, like, gripping to read, you know, like, all throughout. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's I am the man. 7,000. Get him! Send the fallen after him. Those are the evil Dark Angels, right? Which, of course, are just regular Dark Angels painted to be dead. I like how Warhammer has the whole, like... They got a whole system down pat where it's like, these guys are evil! How do you know that? They're painted differently than the other guys. Everything about them is exactly the same. Good, thank you. It is providing me much solace these hot summer months. Because it's super warm and I'm dying, Scoob. I am simply dying. Ugh. Why are Dark Angels green? We're asking the real questions here. We're asking the real questions. Have you played Marvel Crisis Protocol? No, but people have mentioned that to me several times. Because I think that's another miniature game thing. I have not played it. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's any good or if it's any fun. Maybe it will be, and I'll give it a try. Yeah, I feel like, though, a Marvel mini wargaming thing, like, I don't think that would be as appealing to me as something like Warhammer. Because what I like about Warhammer is, like, building things and making them my own, right? Like, I'm really going through and, like, making these models and, like, customizing them to my own whims. I'm, like, giving them cool, like, backstories and characterization. I'm really making them mine. I don't think I would get that same experience if I was painting Spider-Man. Because then I would just be painting a Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong, I think it would be plenty of fun to paint a Spider-Man. That's a lie, actually. I think Spider-Man has way too many details. It is far too finicky for me. Out of all the Marvel heroes to paint, I think Spider-Man would be a very hard one. Yes, if his suit was like had like little raised bumps on it, you could just eyebrush those white. Briskets? I don't know. I do not know. I have been Alfarius this whole time. Probably because of the Black Templar. Yeah, I would imagine they would take precedent over the black color. Well, there's a couple of, like, black color scheme Space Marines. Like, Black Templars and Death Watch are both, you know, pretty monochrome in the grand scheme of things. Realize that I forgot to paint his hands on the first pass through, so I'm going to need to do, like, a third pass just to make sure I get the coverage right. Yeah. I also feel like there may have been a time where the Dark Angels didn't have much, like, I guess, like, differentiation. Like, if they were just, you know, Space Marines but painted a different color, I feel as though once you start getting other black color schemes into it, you're like, okay, maybe we'll paint these guys. Maybe we'll paint them green just so they can stick. Who you painted? I'm painting Orks, baby. Painting Orks. Orks is the best. It's like 9. Go to bed. My bedtime is strict. I don't know how anybody else manages to stay up past them hours. I don't know. I'm mostly just like testing my new. I'm trying to test some like different stream setups. I think I need to like invest in a proper webcam or something, because right now I'm using my phone that's like hooked up to my computer, but it's really making my phone like really hot for some reason, and I don't think that should be the case. Like, I think I should be able to have my telephone just on and like just using the camera. Like, the phone isn't doing, it's just using the camera. Like, come on. Come on. Yeah, I think I need to like invest in like a webcam or something. I don't know. Content is hard. Mostly just don't want to fry the battery on this thing. Thank you for recommending this stream. Hell yeah! I just like to hang out and paint for a bit. You know, work is done. I just like to chill out. I just like to chill, because, like, you know, especially when I'm doing the, like, weird, like, I'm doing the boring stuff now. Like, I've base coated in black, you know, I'm just putting down, like, the flat greens, and everything like that. So it's, you know, I'm doing the boring stuff. Like, I would just have, like, a movie on, like, be listening to an audiobook at the same time. Just throwing on a stream is no different. We talk to a bunch of other nerds. Dorkazoids. Weirdos. I am. We are Omegon. You think Omegon ever gets, like, upset that everyone keeps saying, like, that they are Alfarius? Do you think that, like, do you think that he would be like, I just want once, for once in my life, I want someone to say that they are Omega. Like, I wanna feel appreciated in that way. Think he feels as though he's, like, in second place? I also feel weird about the whole Omegon thing, because, like, his whole thing is that, like, you know, there's two of him, like, Alfaris and Omegon are just, like, the same guy. But, like, in order for any of the narratives of the Alpha Legion to work, somebody needs to clock the fact that there's two Primarchs. Like, in order for any of their lore, any of their stories to be, like, functional narratively, like, someone at some point has to go, like, oh yeah, you two? Same guy. They're probably just like, fuck, I thought we had, like, a super cool, like, thing going on. That is simply not the case. Simply... Anyway. We're all boomer marines. Make things explode. I guess that makes the salamanders the boomeriest of them all. Hot today. I had to know. Oh, Malgadopes knows it. Got plot armor. That man has plot armor. Gotta take really good care of this brush. I'm like, I just got this thing, and I feel like I'm already putting it through the... Like, historically, it is... Historically, I haven't been the best with my brush care. And that makes me feel like I'm a bad father, or whatever, but... So I can just buy a new one for $5. I mean, you actually do the I am Alfarius bit? I thought you guys were just joking. Gotta respect the dead. Unless it's the Emperor you're talking about. Heresy. Ah. Again, like, the underside of this Orc's chin is, like... I completely missed painting it the first time around. Like, face and body, mean green machine. Underside, nothing. The all damage brushes for dry brushing. Believe me, I do. I've got like a little army of like necrotic undead brushes. Brushes that I refuse to be rendered dead. Harder for some of the small. I've got a bunch of like really like fine detail brushes that like are kind of hard to convert them to dry brushes just because they're small. See what I do actually is that a lot of these like smaller brushes that end up getting fucked up. I used one on stream last time, which is like I sort of use them as like base coat brushes. Like the thing that I find always happens is that like because I use like the spray. I use like the spray primer for priming my model. Like I feel like anytime I do that, there's always like a whole bunch of like leftover, you know, like nooks and crannies and like bits where like arms were covering faces, so they didn't get like covered quite right in the spray primer. So I have some like really scrungy, like messed up brushes. Like this one here, I've just got like sitting in a pot of water, like that bad, like. But like I'll take those and I'll use them anytime I like spray prime something. I'll like dip that in Abaddon Black and really just. Like, get that into all the nooks and crannies. Don't die of heat stroke again. I just might, honestly. Simply because you told me not to. My phone's gonna die of heat stroke, though. It, like, gave me a warning. Like, gave me a warning before I started this. That was like... Hey, don't do this for too long because you might fry your battery. So... I don't know how long to stream up if that is the case. I think I need to, like, invest in, like, a small camera or something. You know, something that's entire purpose is to be a camera. Gonna paint next? That's a good question. Like, mostly I just want to, like, finish off a bunch of stuff that I have on my current, like, to-do pile. Like, I've got the, I've got the Commandos I'm working on now. Yeah. Oh. Got the Commandos. I've got this Gaz that's half done. Yeah, buddy, that's better. Really wasn't focusing last time. Off. That half done. And then I also have... Ow! And then I also have this half-done Dakka jet over here. Which is probably the biggest model that I have. Also covered in dust. Oh. Oh, and I've Almost dropped a Tyranid Prime onto the... Haven't based him right now. Oops. I think that'll paint minis from the pile of shame. See, that just defeats the point to me. Like, they're on the pile because you want to paint them. You're the artisan. Ugh. Alright, back to it. We're almost there. Like, I've never really understood paint commit for Warhammer models. Because, like, I feel as though, like, the painting is the fun part, right? Like, I feel as though, like, the painting is the fun part. So, like, if you're not gonna paint them, what's the point? Like, even if you just want a really good paint job, learn. Yeah, like, I know that, like, I've seen, like, a couple of ads, like sponsored studios and stuff that do that. And, like, by all means, if there's a market for that, get that bag, you know? But it's just not something I think I would consider doing. Like, I want them to have personal touches, you know? I want them to be, like... And besides, Warhammer's expensive enough as it is. Like, you really gonna tell me you're gonna spend, like, $100 on a model and then have to shell out, like, a fucking $200 for a professional paint job? No. Paint your hundreds of dollars worth of models, a shitty, awful paint job, but one that only you can do. Like, you don't get extra points for it. You're not winning tabletop games because you got better painted models. No. Honestly, I don't know what their theological aspirations are. These is just orcs. Here for a good time, not a long time. Lord knows they're not going to survive long enough. Especially with me behind the scenes pulling the strings. Praise be to the imp. Let the man rot. I have once again forgotten to paint a hand. Kill me. Inconsistent. I mean, really weird. Maybe I just don't have like a proper light set up and I can't see what I'm bloody doing. I don't know why people wouldn't just print their own minis. I mean, it's hard to do. Like, you need specialized gear for that. Everyone's saying, like, just buy a 3D printer. Like, if you want a good 3D printer, like a proper resin one, you're gonna need a printing room in your house. Those things fill out noxious fumes like you wouldn't believe. Like you pay for 3D printing heresy. Only get caught. What Games Workshop you do? Secret. It's safe. Like on all my other models, I've like forgotten to paint this guy's hands. Now I'm gonna have to go back and do another coat. Make sure his hands are properly painted green. always wondered, like, I don't paint these guys with, like, traditional orc flesh colors. Like, I paint these guys in Death Guard green, and then I light that green with, like, a green shade paint. I don't know, I think the end result is usually, like, better looking. You can see it's, like, a lot more pale, perhaps. Like the War flesh paint. Which I think is weird, because you'd assume that a paint called War flesh, as in the flesh of, you know, the orcs of whom War, you'd expect that to be the right color you want, but no. Besides, when you get, like, all A paints, this, cool. Really nice color, really nice. Oh, I'm sweating. Fumes are worse than fire furnace. Honestly, like, it... Listen, if you can have a 3D printing room in your house with proper ventilation for a resin printer, go nuts. I am not made of money, nor am I made of rooms in a house. Give me $40,000. I will buy a resin printer and a room in which to print. Oh, a 40k painter. Hell yeah! I'm just a weird little guy, painting my weird little guys. I'm having a grand old time doing it. Apparently the orcs are going to be red. I heard that the man who designed them spilled a lot of ketchup on his original sketches. Why everyone thought that they were going to be red. Then he was like, no, they're green. I'm just a slob. That could be a made-up lie that I just think is true. That's very possible. I paint my Core Knight Berserkers with real blood. That's metal as hell, but I think it violates several health codes. I'm no expert, though, so you shouldn't listen to me. You shouldn't listen to me in any matters, you know? Simply shouldn't listen to me. I'm not an expert in anything. In fact, I'm kind of stupid. One of my most redeeming qualities. Phone just buzzed. Tell me for. Never mind. Kill for the living and die for the dead. Health. No! What am I doing? Like a really weird, like, guy's mouth. That, like, it's sort of in the side where he's going like, eh. Like, really hard to get into. And again, no one's probably ever going to see it, to be honest. So many little, like, details on these things nobody's ever going to see. But I'm so pedantic that I'm just like, I've got to fill them all. I've got to fill them all. No one's going to know if I don't, but I'll know. I was clamoring about whether or not you should use real bodily fluids. Okay, the cool change is coming. I can feel that breeze on my... Good time. Great classic hit. Okay. I have slapped down some green on these boys. I'm one step closer to finishing the process. Hell yeah. And with that, I'm probably going to stop there for the night, Because it is still summertime, and it is very, very hot. And also my phone's yelling at me and telling me that my battery's going to explode if I use my phone camera for too long. Which I think is a problem. So I might have to start looking into a different camera setup. Because I like my telephone. It allows me to make phone calls. All of my nearest and dearest friends. Phone calls, of course, being something that I do very often. Obviously. Clearly. Yeah. I'm going to pump the brakes for now. Gonna cool off and, like, eat a pound of frozen blueberries, because that's my snack. Gonna let these guys dry, and then gonna come back another time, give them another fun little coat. Fun little. Thanks for hanging out. Always a pleasure. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Get out of here. It's too hot today.